The vanishing. It started with a photo, a stolen one, a moment that shouldn't have existed. My daughter-in-law, smiling in the mirror, her hand on the strap of a designer bag I'd never let anyone touch. The caption beneath it read, "He spoils me too much, heart." I froze. The lighting was familiar, the soft tan of the leather unmistakable. It was my bag, the one my husband had brought from Europe, along with the perfumes, the chocolates, the silk scarf wrapped around her neck in that same picture. Everything he'd given me, gone. I stared at the photo until the screen dimmed. My pulse didn't race. My hands didn't shake. It was quieter than that, a silence that seeped into bone. Then I called my son. He answered on the third ring, his voice heavy with hesitation. "Mom? Where's my bag?" I asked. A pause. Too long. Then a breath. A confession disguised as reason. "Mom, my wife said she'd use it more than you, so I gave her everything. Everything." The word echoed in the hollow space behind my ribs. Perfumes, chocolates, bags, gifts from a man who'd tried to make me feel seen again after years of being background noise. And my son, my own blood, had handed them away like they were leftovers. I said nothing. But my husband heard everything. He stood in the doorway, listening. The silence between us was a thin, sharp wire. When I hung up, he said nothing at first, just stared at me. Then his voice cut through the air like frost. He gave her everything? Yes. He turned away, slow and deliberate, the kind of turn a man makes when something inside him finally cracks. That's when it began, the unraveling. The family dinner had been the night before. Laughter, wine, meaningless stories. My daughter-in-law complimented the meal. My son smiled at his phone. My husband refilled her glass. Everyone played their part. And when I went to my room later that night, the gifts were gone. Every single one. At first I thought I'd misplaced them, or my husband had moved them. But when I saw that photo the next morning, the truth bled through. This wasn't forgetfulness. It was entitlement. Quiet theft disguised as love. I could have confronted her, or him. But emotion is noise, and I've learned that power comes from silence. So I stayed quiet. I began watching. They thought I had forgiven them, that my silence meant surrender. But silence is only peace to those who haven't learned its weight. My daughter-in-law posted more photos. Perfume bottles on her dresser, my scarf tied around her hair. The captions were all the same tone. Possession disguised as affection. My son looked proud beside her, blind. My husband started to withdraw. At first subtly, turning off his phone, avoiding family dinners. Then more directly, his eyes hardened, his voice sharpened. Something old and primal inside him woke up. He wasn't angry about the gifts. He was angry about what they symbolized. That his son had chosen her over me, over him, over us. One night he sat on the edge of the bed, silent, the kind of silence that tastes like iron. "She took what was yours," he said at last, "and he let her." I didn't answer, because he wasn't asking. He was deciding. The next weekend we hosted another dinner. Same table, same laughter, same polite deceit. I placed the empty gift boxes neatly on the dining table before everyone arrived. My son noticed first. He frowned. "Mom, what's this?" "Evidence," I said quietly. My daughter-in-law's smile faltered. I looked at her, then at him. Do you know what betrayal looks like when it's dressed in politeness? It looks like this. Empty boxes where gifts used to be. My husband said nothing. He simply watched her. His jaw was tight, the muscle pulsing near his temple. My son began stammering. "Mom, it's not, she didn't mean—" "She didn't mean," I repeated. And yet she took. The air grew heavy. My daughter-in-law's voice broke through, trembling. "It was just a bag." "No," my husband said suddenly, his voice low. "It was everything." The room froze. His gaze locked on her, cold and unblinking. "You took what wasn't yours, and you made my son complicit." She tried to speak, but the words tangled in her throat. My son's face went pale. He turned to me, eyes pleading, "Dad, please, it's not that serious." But it was, because betrayal rarely starts big. It starts with something small enough to justify. A borrowed gift, a lie told for comfort, a silence kept to keep the peace. That's how rot begins, quietly, beneath the surfaces. After they left that night, my husband didn't say a word. He just poured himself a drink, stared at the table, and whispered, "I'm done." 2 days later, I found the divorce papers in my son's name on his desk. My husband had initiated them on his behalf. Cold, efficient, final. I didn't ask how. I didn't interfere. This wasn't revenge. This was consequence. When my son came to see me, he was shaking. "Dad's gone too far, Mom. She's leaving me." I met his eyes. "He's teaching you the cost of giving away what you didn't earn." He started to cry. "I just wanted peace." "Peace," I said, "isn't bought with someone else's pain." Weeks passed. The house grew quiet again. The gifts never returned, but something else did. Stillness. Control. My husband began traveling again, this time alone. He never mentioned it again. But sometimes I caught him looking at me, softly, almost apologetically, as if the whole ordeal had peeled something raw inside him too. I didn't forgive him for his silence before, but I understood it now. Some truths don't need words, they just need to be witnessed. Last night, I saw the final post. My daughter-in-law, now alone, her caption trembling beneath forced optimism. Starting over, new beginnings. The same bag beside her, but the look in her eyes, hollow. My son hadn't commented. He'd moved out, back here, quiet, broken, learning. Sometimes he still asks why we didn't tell him sooner, and every time I give him the same answer. Because you wouldn't have listened. Betrayal doesn't destroy people. It reveals them. My son learned who she was. My husband remembered who I am. And I learned that revenge isn't about punishment. It's about precision. About taking back what was stolen without ever lifting a hand. When my husband handed me a new perfume last night, one I hadn't asked for, he said quietly, "This time, I'll lock it for you myself." I smiled, not with joy, but with understanding. Because control, once lost, is never given back. It's taken, silently, deliberately. And when you take it back, you never lose it again. Final line? They thought the gifts had vanished. They never realized, so had I.